let's talk about a topic that was brought up during last night's tech rehearsal. And that is plugins are going the subscriber route. Yeah, not just Slate Digital, which kicked it all off, but now Waves is a part of it. We had the Composer Cloud, Cush, SoftTube. So somebody last night wanted me to give my opinion on this, so I'm going to give it company by company. Okay. So first of all, I'm going to start by talking about, Slate Digital. Alright, so I actually think Slate Digital has the best deal out of all of them, and that's because it by far has the most all-around plugin collection. For $25 monthly, you can get basically everything you need. It has a deesser, it has a reverb, it has a delay, it has multiple equalizers, multiple compressors, it has a mastering compressor, a mastering limiter. You can do all kinds of stuff with this package. Now, you can either get an annual cheaper bundle if you pay for, obviously you have to pay for all 12 months, but it's cheaper if you know you're going to be using the plugins for a year. If you don't know whether or not you're going to use the plugins for a year, then I would go monthly, and yeah, it's $10 more per month, but $25 for like $2,000 worth of plugins that are going to be used on multiple mixes. I mean, like I said, I could mix with just Slate plugins at this point because of the deesser, because of the reverb, because of the delay. Before they added those 3 plugins, excuse me, in the past few months, that wasn't the case because they had equalizers, compressors, saturation plugins, tape plugins, you name it, but they didn't have what I consider to be the essentials, that of which are a deesser. I mean, I love deessers for vocals especially, but any harsh frequencies, deessers are great. And yeah, you can do, actually Slate doesn't have a dynamic equalizer yet, but that's what I typically use for vocals these days. A deesser is basically a dynamic equalizer, but a little bit less advanced, I guess you would say. But yeah, Slate Digital by far has the best deals out there these days. And as far as the subscription plans are concerned. Now I'm going to go on to Waves and talk about Waves for a second here. So Waves, by far, I think, is not the best deal. They basically are giving you a bunch of their old plugins, which, I mean, they're okay, but, when you have Slate that's giving you everything, including plugins that they just came out with a week ago, how are you supposed to compete with that? I mean, okay, yeah, it's $10 a month, but what do you get for that? And I can't say that I could mix with just the Waves plugins, especially considering that quality-wise, they are beaten by Slate Digital. So I cannot recommend Waves. Now, if you are a professional producer and you don't own all the Waves plugins, then Mercury, that subscription, although it's, $150 a month, it's still, you can put that on the invoice basically. But if you're somebody like me, where you're not doing very expensive projects, that's a lot of money. Like, I certainly am not going to be spending $150 a month. And yeah, you get a lot. I mean, you have everything. I'm glad that they even offer that, but it's expensive. And you got a lot of redundant plugins. So, to me, it's not a good deal. And Waves, I really think you guys should rethink the silver subscription, or maybe add a gold subscription where you have some of your newer plugins. You got to look at the competition. It really was a joke that they... hey, thanks, Darren. I see that comment. Thank you very much. So, next up is Composer Cloud. Oops, I didn't mean to take that one. Sorry about that. Composer Cloud is a great deal. I mean, if you do music production of any sort, with especially electronic music, but music composition for like film, TV, this gets you, look at that, $12,500 worth for $30 a month. $30, I think, if you're a music composer, that is I'm not going to say a drop in the bucket, but it's easily affordable as long as you are charging decent rates, which you should be if you're a music composer and you're good. Even if you're a bad music composer, you should at least be charging something. So, yeah, good on them for offering that. That's very cool. And then next up, we have the new guy in town, Cush. Just started theirs, I think, a week ago or earlier this week. Now, I will say at the current price, which they said is introductory, that is a good deal. $10 a month for Cush plugins. Very good deal, but it's not all-inclusive like Slate Digital's Everything bundle. So I might actually rent these one day just to get a different flavor of plugin, maybe. Excuse me, or even try to just demoing the plugins. I know I can demo them for free, but I might want to use them just to get a little, a different flavor. So hopefully, Cush adds some reverb plugins, a delay plugin, and maybe a dynamic equalizer. I mean, really, that really rounds it out. When you have a reverb and a delay, that really helps your package. So, but I'm glad that they offer this, though, instead of having to pay like $500 for all their plugins. Okay, so I'm going to go to our final product here, and that is SoftTube. Now, SoftTube, I think, has a better rounded package than Cush and Waves, and also I like SoftTube's quality better than Waves, and Cush is about equal to SoftTube, and SoftTube's about equal to Slate Digital. So those three companies doing this is pretty awesome. So, but I just don't think that it's missing. The main thing it's missing is maybe a few more equalizers, and again, I think a de-esser is crucial to mixing these days. For whatever reason, condenser microphones and even dynamic microphones, once you start compressing them, they have that presence peak, and you really want to be able to get that out, but remain having bright vocals or bright whatever. But anytime there's a harsh frequency, reducing that just when that happens. You may be hearing that on my microphone right now because I don't have a de-esser on it. That's just how it goes, But yeah, I just love the fact that you can get these plugins super cheap. I mean, back when I was mixing, and it takes about a month, maybe less, to mix an album. If you just rent these plugins, let's say, not including the Composer Cloud, but let's say just the four other guys or the three other guys, that's like $50. So $50, you got a lot of plugins, and you'll be good to go if all you need it for is a month. I'm more of the opinion that since I'm in this audio game for the long run, I like perpetual licenses, so I'm glad that they still offer that for sale, because if they took away that option, I really wouldn't appreciate it.